Collision. A collision occurs when two objects come in direct contact with each other. It is the event in which two or more bodies exert forces on each other in about a relatively short time. So whenever two objects come closer to each other and apply force on each other, then we call this event as collision. There is a collision between these two cars and they collide with each other. They come closer to each other and they apply force on each other, and this event is known as collision. And here is collision between two particles. This object and this object come closer to each other and exert forces on each other, and this event is known as collision. For collision, it's not necessary to touch or to keep in contact with each other. For objects, they can come closer to each other and without touching and without in contact they can collide with each other. For example, here is a proton and it is approaching to this nucleus, and because nucleus is positively charged and proton is also positively charged, when proton come closer to this nucleus without in contact, without touching, they repel each other. This is also collision, but the particles were never in contact with each other. Collision. There are two types of collision: head-on collision and oblique collision. Oblique collision is not included in your syllabus, so we are going to discuss head-on collision. It is the collision in a straight line. Whenever objects come closer to each other and they are in a straight line, their line of action of forces is on the same line and their velocities are also on same line. So we call this as head-on collision. In head-on collision, we have two types of collisions: elastic collisions and inelastic collision. Elastic collision. In an elastic collision, both momentum and kinetic energy of the system are conserved. Whenever objects collide with each other and their momentum and their kinetic energy both are conserved after the collision, so we call it as elastic collision. An elastic collision is one where there is no net loss in kinetic energy in the system as the result of the collision. In an elastic collision, the bodies regain their original shape after collision. So there is no net loss of kinetic energy because original shape of objects is same after the collision. When we talk about macroscopic world, it is not possible to have completely elastic collision because some kinetic energy of the moving objects may be converted into mechanical waves or sound. So we can take the example of billiard balls in which their collision is considered as elastic collision, but it is not completely elastic because some of the kinetic energy is converted into mechanical waves and sound waves. If we consider completely elastic collision, then the opening break would be completely silent. Completely elastic collision can be possible between atomic and subatomic particles, in which kinetic energy of the objects before collision and after collision remains same, conserved. Inelastic collision. In an inelastic collision, the kinetic energy of the system is not conserved, but momentum remains conserved. In both the collisions, momentum is conserved, but the kinetic energy in elastic collision remains conserved, but in elastic collision, kinetic energy is not conserved. The lost kinetic energy is transformed into thermal energy, sound energy, and material deformation. This type of collision occurs in our daily life, such as in colliding cars, uh, baseball, and when we talk about a bat. So this type of collision occurs in our daily life. So in elastic collision, kinetic energy of the system is not conserved. So kinetic energy of the system before collision is not equal to kinetic energy of the system after collision. Perfectly elastic collision in one dimension. Now we are talking about head-on collision, the collision that is in a straight line, and there is also elastic collision in which kinetic energy of the system remains conserved before and after collision. We have two objects m1 and m2. Object 1 is having mass m1 and object 2 is having mass m2, and initial velocity of object 1 is u1 and initial velocity of object 2 is u2. Initial momentum of object 1 is m1 u1 and initial momentum of object 2 is m2 u2. After colliding with each other, they move with another velocities v1 and v2. Velocity of object 1 is now v1 and velocity of object 2 is now v2. Final momentum after collision of object 1 is m1 v1. Final momentum of object 2 after collision is m2 v2. According to the law of conservation of momentum, we know that final momentum of the system is equals to initial momentum of the system. So P initial momentum of the system is equals to Pf, that is final momentum of the system. And we can add the initial momentum of the system, that is initial momentum of object 1 m1 u1 and initial momentum of object 2, that is m2 u2. So we can sum up the initial momentum of the system, that must be equal to final momentum of the system. We can add the final momentum of object 1 and object 2, that gives us the Pf, final momentum of the system, m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Let's say at equation number 1, we can write the terms having m1 together and we can write terms having m2 together. So we can shift this m1 v1 on second side of the equation, so it will become negative minus m1 v1, and we can shift this term m2 u2 on another side of the equation, and this is positive, so it will become negative, and we will have m1 u1 minus m1 v1 is equals to m2 v2 minus m2 u2. m1 is same in both the terms, so we can take it as common. So by taking m1 as common, we get m1 into u1 minus v1, that is equals to, we can take here m2 as common because it is same in both the terms, so we can take it as common, m2 into v2 minus u2. Let's say it equation number 2, and we know that in perfectly elastic collision, initial kinetic energy of the system must be equal to final kinetic energy of the system. So we can write the initial kinetic energy of the system by adding the initial kinetic energy of object 1 and initial kinetic energy of the object 2, that is equals to half m1 u1 square plus half m2 u2 square. Half m1 u1 square is initial kinetic energy of object 1 and half m2 u2 square is initial kinetic energy of object 2, that is equals to final kinetic energy of the system. So we can add the final kinetic energy of object 1 and final kinetic energy of object 2. Final kinetic energy of object 1 is half m1 v1 square and final kinetic energy of object 2 is half m2 v2 square. We can add both the kinetic energies to get the final kinetic energy of the system. we can write the terms having m1 on the same side of the equation and the terms having m2 on the same side of the equation. So we can shift this m1 v1 square, half m1 v1 square on the left side of the equation, and we can shift this half m2 u2 square on the second side of the equation, right side of the equation. Because m1 half m1 is common, is same in both the terms, we can take it as common half m1, and remaining term is u1 square minus v1 square, that is equals to, we can take half m2 as common because it is same in both the terms, half m2 into v2 square minus u2 square. 2 is cancelled by this 2 because both are in denominator, and we get m1 into u1 square minus v1 square is equals to m2 into v2 square minus u2 square. Let's say it equation number 3. Dividing equation 3 by equation 2, we get m1 into u1 square minus v1 square divided by m1 into u1 minus v1, that is equals to m2 into v2 square minus u2 square divided by m2 into v2 minus u2. We just simply divided both the equation number 3 with equation number 2. And m1 is cancelled by m1, m2 is cancelled by m2, and finally we get u1 square minus v1 square divided by u1 minus v1, that is equals to v2 square minus u2 square divided by v2 minus u2. Here we can apply the formula a square minus b square is equals to a plus b into a minus b. This u1 is taken as a and v1 is taken as b, and here v2 is taken as a and u2 is taken as b. v2 is taken as a and u2 is taken as b, and on both the terms we can apply this formula. So we can expand this by the help of this formula, and we get u1 plus v1 into u1 minus v1 divided by u1 minus v1, and that is equals to, we can expand this by the help of this formula, and this term is expanded as v2 plus u2 into v2 minus u2 divided by v2 minus u2, and this term is u1 minus v1 cancelled by this term, that is in denominator u1 minus v1, and this term, that is v2 minus u2, is cancelled by the term that is in denominator v2 minus u2, and finally we get u1 plus v1 is equals to u2 minus v2. We can shift u2 on the left side of the equation and v1 on the right side of the equation, and we get u1 minus u2 is equals to v2 minus v1. Let's say it equation number 4, and this equation number 4 can be written as u1 minus u2 is equals to, we can take minus as common, and by taking this minus as common we get minus into v1. Now this minus v1 will become positive, and we get v1 minus v2. Before colliding with each other, before collision, bodies approach each other. So this u1 minus u2 is relative velocity of approach before collision, and this v1 minus v2 is relative velocity of separation after collision, because after collision bodies separate from each other. So this is relative velocity of separation after collision. You can see that difference of velocities before collision and after collision is same, but there is negative sign, and this negative sign shows that the direction is reversed after collision. So the relative speed of approach in magnitude is equal to relative speed of recession. Relative speed of approach is equals to relative speed of recession, but the direction is opposite. To find the velocities of the colliding object after collision in terms of velocities and masses before collision, we can use equation number 4. we know that final velocity of object 1 after collision is v1 and final velocity of object 2 after collision is v2, and we can calculate v1 and v2 in terms of initial velocities u1 and u2 and masses m1 and m2. We can use equation number 4 for this, and we can rearrange equation number 4 and we get v2 is equals to u1 plus v1 minus u2. Let's say it equation number 5. Putting values from equation number 5 in equation number 1, we get m1u1 plus m2u2 is equals to m1v1 plus m2 into u1 plus v1 minus u2. This u1 plus v1 minus u2 is the value of v2, and we can multiply m2 with all the terms. We can multiply m2 with u1 and with v1 and with minus u2, and we get m1u1 plus m2u2 is equals to m1v1 plus m2u1 plus m2v1 minus m2u2. And we can use this equation and we can write the terms containing v1 together, and we can write the terms containing u1 together, and we can write the terms containing u2 together, and by shifting we get m1 v1 plus m2 v1. Both the terms are containing v1 and we can write them together, and that is equals to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. We can write the terms containing u2 together, that is m2 u2 and m2 u2. It will become 2 m2 u2, and we can write the terms m1 u1 and minus m2 u1 together because both are containing u1, so we want to write them together, and we get m1 plus m2 into v1. We have taken v1 as common because it is same in both the terms, so v1 into m1 plus m2 is equals to, we can write the terms containing u1 together, and after taking u1 as common we get u1 into m1 minus m2, that is equals to m1 minus m2 into u1 plus, here is one m2 u2 and another m2 u2, so 1 m2 u2 plus 1 m2 u2 becomes 2 m2 u2. Dividing both sides by m1 plus m2, we get m1 plus m2 into v1 divided by m1 plus m2 is equals to m1 minus m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2 plus 2 m2 u2 divided by m1 plus m2, and we get v1 is equals to, because m1 plus m2 is cancelled with m1 plus m2, and we get v1 is equals to m1 minus m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2 plus 2 m2 u2 divided by m1 plus m2. Putting value of v1 from equation number 4 in equation number 1, we get v2 is equals to 2m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2 minus m1 minus m2 into u2 divided by m1 plus m2. This is the final velocity of object 1 after collision, that is v1 is equals to m1 minus m2 into u1 divided by m1 plus m2 plus 2m2 u2 divided by m1 plus m2. And for finding the final velocity v2 of object 2 after collision, we can use the similar procedure as we done for finding the value of v1, but we can now put the value v1 is equals to v2 minus u1 plus u2 in equation number 1 to get the value of v2. In similar way you can calculate it, and the result is v2 is equals to 2m1 u1 divided by m1 plus m2 minus m1 minus m2 into u2 divided by m1 plus m2. This is the final velocity of object 1 after collision, and this is the final velocity of object 2 after collision, and you can calculate it by yourself.